I convene this meeting for the budget presentations. I think we'll just go right into it since we're gonna have our regular town meeting at 6 p.m. This is the 5 p.m. budget presentation meeting, and we're gonna start off with the building department.
We'll start off with the building department budget first, instead of planning board.
Works for me.
Yep, that's fine. Okay. Personal services, do you want a breakdown or do you want the total number?
Well, the total is 19,360.
That's for
No,
the
no,
planning
that's-
board.
That's planning board.
Planning
Oh.
board.
Right. I mean, I personally would like a breakdown. I'd
Yeah,
like to
okay,
know
yeah,
what
sure.
encompasses that amount.
Okay. For me, would be $69,472. That includes my longevity and boots. Sandy DeBacco is $59,092.80. That also includes his boot allowance and his longevity. Riley Smith, $47,465.60. She's the union clerk, so she's bound to the union contract.
Is that, Jason, is that 47,465? Is that the number from last year?
No, this
So
is
that-
for
that-
department request.
Okay.
So Riley was at 23.58 an hour,
Yes,
so she'll go to 24.58 per the union.
yes, $1.25 raise.
It's $1.25, so it'll actually be,
Raise,
Yeah.
is union contract.
right, so it'll actually be a little above $25 an hour. What's in there for you and Sandy?
Sandy is $1.25,
Okay.
and for me, I was requesting $3 an hour as a department head.
And you're currently at $30.40 an hour?
Yes,
That's per hour organizational meeting.
no, I only get comp time. for
Right, no,
meetings.
no, I know, but that's where I got that $30.40 an hour is at our January 1st organizational meeting.
Yes, that's in the adopted budget
Right.
as of this year, yes,
So you'd be looking at $33.40 an hour.
yes. So total personal services requested for 2027 would be $176,030.40. For equipment, I've been doing pretty good with just putting $600 in the budget for equipment between filing cabinets or some kind of technological equipment that we may need to acquire over the year.
Do you know what you've acquired this year in your expenditures?
Yes, in my contractual or equipment.
For your equipment, what do you know what you've purchased this year?
The tablet for the office, which has two functions. It's our new camera, because our camera was not working so well. And it also helps me at planning and zoning boards to review the code instead of looking on the phone to help the board members better understand stuff. I had to get a webcam because I have to do team meetings now with engineers and other applicants instead of leaving the office. It's much more efficient for everyone. And I got myself a new desk finally after 5 years. So I took care of my coworkers first. We still have to upgrade some filing cabinets, some laterals from downstairs. I do plan on moving them over to our office so that we don't have to go back and forth. So some are in rough shape to begin with. And then after the move, who knows if some will fare decently or not.
Okay.
And then,
Jason,
yes,
let me just ask you this question back to personal services. Is your and Santi's work week based on 40 hours or less than 40 hours?
no, we're 40 hours a
You're
week.
40 hours.
Yes.
And is Riley 40 hours or?
No, Riley is 70 hours.
So she's 35 a week.
Mhm.
What is Sandy's hourly? Do you
As
know?
of this year,
$27.16 currently.
and then contractual expenses are $8,142. And I did attach a sheet on everything that I have to pay.
So that did go down from last year.
Yes.
What is storm room?
I was getting the same question.
Oh, sorry, typo.
Oh.
Storeroom.
Store.
Good catch. Thank you.
And do we know for near map, have we figured out what departments are utilizing near map and what departments are going to share in the expense? Or are we as a board going to mandate that every department have an equal share regardless of whether they utilize it or not?
Right. Regina sent us a packet with some, a lot of questions, and that was one of the questions that I think after all the preliminary budgets, we can ask that question and reassess and see who's using it, who we think would benefit from it, and so Jason, have you? I mean, it seems
Yes,
like
I have used it.
it seems
Yes.
like something that you could use.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, most definitely.
Okay.
Because who else has access to it? How many departments?
Everybody.
Every department has access to it. I don't think every department is using it.
Right, correct.
The
because
assessor
that
and you,
was-
I would think.
That was the split for everybody using it, correct? And if they don't use it, then
That number's gonna go up.
then yes, then obviously my number's gonna have to go up.
I don't think it'll go up that much, but,
Well, if two drop out, that's an extra $3,000, that's gotta be made up.
so again, that may be a decision that the board makes that
Mhm.
regardless, the department has to put up their share. We'll figure that out, but.
Mhm.
Highway still needs to be introduced to it because we bought it before George was in office. So that's something that I need to talk to him about.
So it looks like, based upon all that, your budget would go up by $7,947.40 in total for everything. Because it looks like you're gonna go up by $8,830.40 for personal. You're gonna go down by $883 in contractual
Mhm.
from last year. Okay. And I'm sorry, what is storeroom?
Storeroom, paper,
Oh, supplier.
yes,
Correct,
yes.
sorry.
Yeah. Printer for the ink.
Okay.
If we need any other kind of miscellaneous office supplies, right down to whiteout. Of course, it's everything that you don't think of, but it does cost money over the year.
Yeah.
So you do have to put it in. Nickel and dimes add up.
Yeah, no, I appreciate, the thoroughness and, of knowing all the information. I don't have any further questions for the billing department part of it.
Oh, thank you.
My only request, and I did call him, was to ask, going forward, was what the actual was for this year to be filled out. You just gave us the information, but and I did call you and asked you that,
Mm-hmm.
so.
You mean for the personnel services?
Well, for, yeah,
He did everything else.
yeah, for the personnel and to list what their current salaries were,
Or things like
just-
equipment last year versus this year.
I see.
just more detailed. And I called Jason, I spoke to him about that, so.
Okay, planning board budget. Planning and Zoning Board. Excuse me. Personal Services, $19,360. You have a 7-member board with 1 alternate. The chairman is at a rate of $130 a meeting. The other members are at $80. Now granted, you could take some of this away because not everyone has full attendance
Attends every
through
meeting.
the year, correct. So you can cut this a little bit.
Does that 19,360, will that cover every 7
Every member
Plus
for
the alternate?
the whole year,
plus
yes,
the alternate?
yes,
Because we weren't paying the alternate
correct,
previously.
right, but
So-
that was his discretion,
Right,
but I always put it in there.
okay, perfect.
And it's for every meeting for a full year.
And the chances of 8 members attending every meeting for the entire year is
They already happened.
slim to none.
Correct.
There's been a lot of
Right,
absenteeism.
slim to none,
Yeah.
right.
Okay, great.
So that is the actual for 100% attendance. So that could be cut on your discretion.
Yeah, I don't know that we'd want to cut it,
Right, correct.
but.
At least it's there
Yeah.
in case they got a batting average of 1,000. Equipment, there's been 0 for years. We really do not really need equipment. I think maybe in the future, if we could, that they should all have tablets to review all the applications that I send email, cut down on the paper. That's just a thought. I know we're a tiny town, that's something a bigger town would be able to provide, but you gotta grow somehow with technology, so I think
Do you-
that would be.
Do you currently provide the members with printed versions of the agenda and all of that, or do you just email?
Yes, no, I still do. I have been the first one to actually make meeting packets for the board. Previously, you got nothing,
Right,
and you showed up and you had nothing.
right.
The members are full equipped with what I do. I send them everything. I print them out. If they need something, I do it and I make their packets.
That's, I
You
appreciate
know,
that.
and
Yeah.
so does Mrs. Grogan.
Yeah.
And if there's any other information that they need, paper in front of them, they will have it.
That's great.
Each one of them have a big binder now with everything in it that they need to do their homework. That is something I took upon myself to do.
And you're comfortable with the $400 that you have for supplies in your other budget to cover this? Or do you think that you should put some money into equipment for that kind of supply?
No,
You're good.
yes, yep, on my storeroom and in my contractual, it's perfectly fine. The only thing I need to add to contractual expenses is Mrs. Brandt brought it to my attention is for their training.
You're right, I was gonna bring that up.
Yes, I have to add an extra $2,500 for the law firm and engineering for their required training per year. That did slip my mind when I was writing that, but the bookkeeper brought it to my attention. That is the only thing that will need to be added to the contractual line.
So then that would go up.
Yes, that would
Yes.
be a total of $2,900.
So the total would be $21,860 once you add the $2,500 to the contractual line.
Yes.
My only recommendation would be, and knowing that that 18,960 is, I agree, do not remove it because you can't predict who's gonna be here or not. But knowing that there is a buffer, if we added, I don't know, $300 or $400 to equipment, and then in other departments we added also, we really need more equipment here. As far as, we need a projector, when they're doing meetings, when you have to show stuff. So I don't know if we put it part of this budget. I don't think planning board should cover all of it because we have our own meetings here. So if they cover a portion, town board then covers a portion, but we've been talking about it. It needs to be updated. We need to get a projector, a screen or a TV or something with the computer that then, but we have people that come and present and you watch other meetings and they have everything shown so that the public sees it. So that's something to consider and think about. And I don't know if a portion of equipment goes for planning and zoning, and then we put another portion elsewhere, but I definitely think it would, I don't know, do you think that would be beneficial?
Yes, that is a good idea, yes.
So I don't know if we consider putting, a portion, just a thought.
Good idea.
And as far as you talking about the tablets, I can speak firsthand on that. I used my own computer. So, if anyone, maybe the chair, if you started with a tablet just for the chair next year, I don't know, it's just another thought. But I would also say, speak to Nate maybe and see, he might have his own computer that he's using and he's comfortable with and he's fine with. And maybe he writes it off on his taxes as business expenses. I don't know. So just something to think about.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Hearing none, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shimleski.
Thank you for your time. Have a good evening.
You too.
How is everyone?
Good. For the record, this is Dawn DeRose, our assessor, presenting a budget for the assessor's office.
And thank you for providing us with a full and complete
I do that every year.
page along with your annotations.
Yes,
It's very helpful.
more information's better.
Well, I commend you on that. It's very nice to
Oh,
see that.
thank you. I'm not sure what questions you have on,
Yes, as I was looking through a couple of, things where you were asking for a raise of about $715. Ms. Hoteling, the clerk, for about $936 raise. And we had talked prior about the sketching, the CAD
right,
sketching.
which is a little high, but.
Which is about, $11,000, you think? And can you tell the board and the public, how many sketches are we looking to get done to complete for the entire town?
So for the town, residential properties, there's 1,828 and 220 commercial properties, which have to be done. As of right now, we have 458 of them done. 33 have to go back out and get a hold of the property owners to go back out and resketch because they're older homes. They're just not matching. And near map, we just can't get it to work correctly for those parcels. For the village, there's 1,901 active parcels, 946 are residential, and 144 are commercials. So it's about 3,000 parcels altogether.
And how many did you say you have gotten?
457.
457.
Yes.
And who is currently our part-time?
Shane DeRose.
How many hours were put in this summer to complete that
He was
457?
doing 17 to 22 hours a week. He's only been here, I think, 6 or 8 weeks. I'm not really sure. Because by the time they get home from college, then he's also working at the school when he gets home. So it's after that that he would start.
Were these hours remote also?
No, they were right in my office.
Okay.
The remote was just when he's back out at college, just so we can keep going. So that's something that Edmonds would do, like on my laptop, the same thing. They hook it up where he dials into my computer,
Right.
rents it right to the office.
Okay.
So there's no like mailing stuff or anything. Everything gets printed right to the office.
Prior to this, who did this in the past?
We just got the program, so we were just keeping up with the new permits.
Who drew them by hand in the past?
All the data collectors.
Okay, so I guess my question would be, why can't the data collector or our current clerk assist
We're
in that?
trying to, she is assisting, but we're trying with everyday work too. Plus, we also have Laserfiche that we're trying to do too. And we're going into exemption time right now too.
And I just want to remind the board that when there were 2 positions that we approved for the summertime, and I believe they were at $20 an hour. We did have discussion that they were more than our laborers. Our laborers were starting at 18 an hour, and we were doing these part-time summer employees at $20.
You're talking about the seasonal employees.
Correct. So that was just something that we discussed when we approved these positions, and we were going to keep in mind going forward. Just
So Dawn, you have approximately 520 hours budgeted for that $11,024.
Yes, which is a lot more than what we're going to
You
use.
think that that's more
Yes,
than realistic?
yes. I always go a little higher
Yeah.
because you never know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Coming from your background, that makes total sense.
Yes.
So,
Just like you're going to see for Paul Goldman too. I went a little high because we really don't know what we're going to.
exactly.
You know, I got hit with that big bill that I didn't even know about. So.
Okay.
I'm hoping we won't spend that for attorney fees. So.
That makes 5 of us. And then it shows equipment, a desk, a chair, a scanner, for $150, $320, $670. And then obviously like the big one would be the $20,000, from $4,000 to $20,000 for Paul Goldman for the Albany Water Board.
Yeah, that's just because he hit us so hard that one time. I didn't even know about that one bill that came in. So I don't want to be short.
I agree.
So.
I don't know that now is the appropriate time to talk about, that case and Mr. Golding, but something that we'd like to talk to you about at some point. Like, again, we met with you and Mr. Golding, maybe 4 months ago or so. We just kind of like to maybe have another discussion with Paul
Yes.
and with you and figure out what the thought process is, whether it would be advantageous to try to enter into some sort of settlement.
We were trying to do that, but Albany Water Board does not want to at the moment. That's where it stands right now. So I have a bunch of little ideas that I've talked to Mr. Goldman about, so we'll see.
Okay.
Another meeting would be good.
Yeah.
So.
So maybe next month, we could try to put something together and before our meeting, possibly have Dawn and Mr. Goldman available.
Anything else?
So it looks like your budget is being increased by $19,508.98. We recognize that, 16,000 of that is
Attorney fees.
Mr. Goldman.
Yes.
Um,
And then I think it's $1.25 raise for Maryland and stuff, so that's in there too.
Okay.
And you did put in the notes that as far as going from a 3-member bar to 5-member bar also.
All right.
Yes,
that's an
because
increase
what
too.
happened this year, we ended up with one being sick at the last minute.
Okay.
We ended up with 2. So a 3-member board, you have to have 2. A
Right.
5-member, we have to have 3. So with 2 members, they both have to agree. If they don't, that starts conflict. So
And historically, we've always had
we've
3.
always had 5.
5.
We've always
Yeah.
had 5. It was cut down to 3.
3.
Okay.
I mean, this year we didn't run into that. They both agreed, but what if?
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think that's great that you put that extra money in, and I think it's imperative for us to try to find, 2 additional members.
Yeah, that's the board for you guys to find.
Yeah.
I do request that maybe one in the village. We do have some out in the hollow, just to make it all equal throughout the whole area.
Are the 3 that are there now, are they all from Alcove Hollow area?
Well,
Well,
no,
one's
one is in
down.
Hamlet.
One's the hamlet, the other two are out
Okay,
in the hollow.
okay,
So we can make it a little more, at least get one or two from the
Yeah.
village or something like that.
sure.
Yeah, David Coons is in the Hamlet.
Mm-hmm.
Any further questions? We will be having the discussion in new business about your training.
Yes.
Does anyone have any questions now for that? Might expedite the process when we're having.
No, I'm
I
just
can
very,
alternate the
I'm
towns.
very appreciative that you do that.
So you won't get the bill for another 2 years. So after this one. But you do get almost 80% back. So you pay it out and then the state reimburses. Sometime, once I put the paperwork in, probably around next October, you'll get a check reimbursing most of that money.
Okay.
So. Okay.
Awesome.
Thanks, Doc, appreciate
Thank
it.
Thank you. Have a good night. No.
Next is
Hello, board.
Thank you.
Chief Operator for the.
You don't have to look at much, there ain't much on there.
Just for the record, this is the Chief Operator for the Sewer Department, Keith Geraldton.
So, where would you like to start? I mean, you realize the guys are getting $1.25, both Ty and Jonathan, both get that $1.25.
All right, so let's start at 8130 then.
You know, so, and my salary is $33.69 right now,
On this sheet,
yes,
it's got Jonathan as 2794,
yes.
but I have him per our organizational meeting at 2459.
No, I don't think so.
Well, that's what,
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be that low. No, there's no way. Because I think that's
a typo.
a trainee, might be under a different heading. Because a trainee was different price or different, that's what that might be.
Yeah, so it's got you listed as chief sewer treatment plant operator at 3369. It's got Tyler as sewer treatment plant operator 2929.
Yeah.
And it's got Mr. Rice as sewer treatment plant operator 2459.
I believe it's higher than that. I think it's $27.94.
Okay.
Because I think that's the like trainee price range for the first year or something like that. That's where I think that came from, because I don't think it was that low.
How long has he been with us?
It'll be a year and a half.
A year and a half.
So that might make sense then, if that's the original training.
That was only 6 months ago.
No, but like it's an operator trainee position that they give them a lower rate because then they have to go to school. So it takes them 3 years to become an operator. So there's a trainee part and then there's an operator, first year rate.
So either this is
It's in the contract.
again.
He was hired as an operator?
Yes.
Yeah, so.
Yes.
Sounds like a typo.
Yeah, that's wrong.
We'll have to confirm that.
It would, I don't have a union contract with me either. So.
Okay.
Yeah, so so his salary right now is roughly 58,000. Jonathan's and Ty's is 61. Mine currently is at 70.
Yours is at 70 without leachate and
And there's nothing to with that. That's just that. I don't get anything for that. So then I put in there for $3. So it'd be like I would be a 76. To go from 70 to 76,000.
okay.
$3.
And so that's 3669.
Yes. And then basically throughout the rest of it is like equipment, we use 59% of that or something like that, but contractual. I'm very puzzled on how to do the budget like that, how they do break it all down, but I mean, we're at like 59% of our budget right now. We still got 5 months left, so we'll probably, use it all up. But as far as what we're working on right now is we have the return pumps coming in, so that's out of this budget, and that has nothing to do with this year's budget. So, at 59%. You got those two return pumps we'll be replacing, and I still want to try to fix the main pump that broke, that we took the spare parts off the other one. I want to send that out and get that fixed so we have another one. So out of the budget, we'll eat this up, as far as what this year's budget is,
So for equipment in 2026, you had 55,000.
Yeah.
Are you moving that over to 2027?
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna, because, we definitely use more, but, I'm just saying,
We got to have something in there.
Yes, I know, we could, but everything's so expensive, everything I priced out is like $100,000, so like, just today, when I was just talking to the guy about doing the lift station, he was just sitting there looking at it and,
So we have an issue, right? It's known that we have an issue at the wastewater treatment plant.
Yeah.
And it's known that we're trying to go after all these grants and we're trying to get all this money and we're trying to replace what we can. Is that where updates would come out of, is equipment? Like if you wanted to pick something to update down at the plant.
Right now, like, it wouldn't even be equipment, like, or maybe it would be, because maybe these are on the wrong line, but I would definitely right now, like, for next year's budget, I want to do the final clarifier, that, we definitely need to fix that,
So that's not necessarily contractual expenses then, because that would be for equipment.
Yeah, I guess, it depends, how you want to break these down, major items or something like that. That's why I put it there. It was a big ticket item, so I just put it there. So it could be an equipment, like all that stuff is the gates, because you guys were down and you saw the gates, it was $50,000 just to make the gates. I still got them installed, so to stop flow and everything, it's probably be another $50,000,
Because the issue that we're going to run into is if we delegate certain money to certain funds, I don't know that we can just transfer that money.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I got you.
So we have to really figure out if final clarifier, is that a contractual item or is that equipment? Because if it's equipment and you really want to get it done, and we've been budgeting 55,000, I would like to somehow find a way to increase it from 55 to 120 so we can at least do that.
Yeah.
Because we really should be going forward. In addition to the grant money that we get, we really should be trying to update things.
Well, that's it, yeah. Because that's what I said, out of all the things that we need to really do right now that I think would help us is those aeration tank gates and the round clarifier, Those are two big ticket items that need to be fixed, right away,
So point two on your day-to-day, that's 55,000, and we're keeping it 55,000 for 2027?
Well, like I said, I don't know what, like 266 got to be our regular bills, I would think, right? Like the 266 would be all our, electric, all that bit. So that's why I said these items probably should be in equipment and everything.
Right.
That's why I'm saying that, So really, yeah, we've been budgeting 55,000.
So you have in here a total of $228,500 with the final clarifier, the aeration tank,
And this is the shower.
and shower.
Yeah.
So if we just move that up, and I'm not saying that we're going to be able to do all of that.
No, that's what I'm saying.
make that happen, but if we-
would be up in the equipment.
If we move that up, you're talking an increase of, $170,000. Out of those three things, what do you think is the most important?
By the aeration tank gates.
The aeration tank, okay.
Yes.
And I have no idea what final clarifier is.
It's a 2 million, it's a 200,000 gallon round tank, and the guts that are in the center.
Okay.
Well, we back when Phil was here, that had froze up because all the oil leaked out and and condensation got in there and it froze. So it was like $60,000. They said to replace everything, just to come in and repair it. He's like, we don't have that money in it. Just do whatever you can. So me and the mechanic end up tearing it all apart and end up changing some bearings and stuff like that. And we end up, by rocking it and shaking it, we might have broke the bearings up enough that they fell down inside where the oil pan was. So we got it to move and we replaced it and we fixed it for about maybe 800, and everything. But we got it up and running, but it still needs, to replace. It still leaks oil and stuff like that. So we want to get,
Okay.
But the aeration tank gates, we definitely need those because you can't service anything.
Okay.
You know, you can't stop the flow to work on them if anything happens, you know. I have the one tank all still empty because we don't really need it in the process, but I'm afraid to open it up because it's so hard to close it up again.
Okay.
You know, because the gates are so bad. And I figured that'd be a first, if we were gonna do the gates, that would be the first one I would do, that tank.
Okay.
So that's why it's empty, we could do it.
So I would love if we could somehow figure out how to come up with $45,000 to increase the equipment line that's been there since 2026 to get that to $100,000. And then we could at least put on our list for 2027 that that's exactly what we're going to do because we have the money budgeted.
Just out of curiosity, the shower unit we budgeted for this year that hasn't been spent.
Well, no, that was a thing that I did in 22. Actually, that's how old it is, 4 years old, that I asked to have that. And they told me to push it off until the third period, but we didn't get to it. And then we went over, I think, the following year, so we never, just got squashed. But now that we've been through a couple of incidents where we could have used one, it's kind of nice to have it, you know. It's just rotted out. It was metal walls. It's all rotted out, and we can't shut the water off in it, so we got it we should put a plug in it right now, because there's no water shut-offs.
Next year.
And actually,
we budget for it.
there might be, and who knows, there might be money in the budget, because like I said, it's only 8,500, I could probably take it out, might be able to get done this year, so maybe something we can knock off.
Okay.
You know, we'll just see where it goes at the end of the year, you know, get some more pricing and then see if I can fit it into the budget this
In
year.
your budget this year, you could just do it.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
If
If
we
I,
haven't gone over.
yeah, I don't want, because I'm always worried about what may happen. So I always like to leave money there in case something does break. Because I still got the 2 pumps that I got to repair, you know, just get them up so we have backups, you know, because I definitely need backups. But like the 2 skylights leak. I've been going out there and caulking them, but they need to replace on the roof. But they're just cracked. They're old and they're cracked, so they need to be replaced.
Well, again, if
There's just things like that maybe over the course of next year's budget, I might be able to squeeze it in within the budget to see how things go. That's all I try to do is squeeze things in, little ticket items like that.
Or as the year winds down for this year, if you notice, like, hey, in November, December, you're going to be, we check Regina, and if you are where you should be and you're like a little extra, maybe in December, you're like, we're going to replace the shower. We have the money.
That's all.
Just to get it done.
Yeah. No, just with the last storm and everything, and with us out there, you know, and then when we had the sewer main break, you know, just me and Jonathan were out there with waders on up to our knees and untreated water, just working on it, you know. So it's nice to go back and take a shower after that day.
Yeah. And in October, you know, September 30th, we'll finish out the third quarter. So we should, you know, institute that idea that we had where we have the department heads kind of go over their numbers quarterly. So that would give us a good idea of where you are as of the end of the third quarter, going into the last 3 months of the year. You know, do you think you're going to have $8,500 laying around, you know, to do the shower unit? And we can kind of talk about it then.
Okay, sure.
Trying to make sense of this is, and I'm usually pretty good with numbers on a budget. Like I'll spend it to the penny. It's not meshing up and it's not lining up with me. So it says tentative budget for the 2026 year is 633. Granted, it doesn't look like your insurance contractual is on here. So, I mean, my big ask, and I think, and please jump in, and I'm thinking we're confusing some contractual expenses with maybe equipment expenses. I don't know. I personally would like to see what exactly are those contractual, maybe itemized or listed.
Okay.
Such as your insurance is contractual. It's non-negotiable. You have to pay for your telephone. Whatever your other expenses are, it would be nice to see them listed.
Okay.
You know, and these numbers here still aren't making sense because we have listed for the 2026 as 566, 400. And here we're at 633. I'm just trying to find out exactly where these numbers are.
Well,
What's missing.
that's for a couple of different line items. You're looking in the budget.
Yeah.
So when you look at that 633 and for the 2026 adopted budget.
Right.
You have in there, 1910.4, 8110.4.
And this
Oh,
is,
those are bonds?
No, these are
Those are all
just line
contractual.
items.
Oh, okay.
But this one, we're only specifically talking about 8130.
8130, and that would be 8130.1.2.4.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you gotta remember that .4, the 8130.4 is joint with the village.
Okay, so that's where the 566 is coming from then.
Yes, because
Perfect.
it's, yeah.
Those
Yeah,
three
you'll have to
numbers.
take off all of the ones before.
Nope, that makes sense now.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Now, the question I had, Keith,
Yeah.
is we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bonds
Mhm.
right now. Are any of those slated to come off in 2027?
I'm trying to think back, like, I thought one was.
Okay.
Which
I mean, I can
one?
check with Regina.
I thought one might have come off in 27, 27, 28, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Because the rest of them are a lot longer.
Okay.
I saw 30, 35.
Yeah, because these don't say,
Yeah,
but you're talking, H36 is, roughly $10,000 between principal and interest.
Mhm.
H37 is, $7,000 approximately. Don't hold me to the exact number. Principal and interest. H35 is 22,000 with, so I'm just trying to look ahead and try to figure out like, a year or two, can we have some money coming back to us?
yeah. Because I think we're still paying on our flow meters that when we use them. That's a,
And every time you say that, I just.
and like I said, that's another thing. Like even with the grant money that we get, hopefully we have enough that we can actually put one in. Because that's another thing. We still have to find money for that.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm hoping in that grant money that there's enough left after they do down in the hamlet that they can maybe fit in a flow meter up there. And
That's not how it works, but I see where you're headed. We'd have to budget for that flow meter that you're talking about.
yeah, because that's because that's a important item that we'd really need because we already got the other ones in place. It's just a matter of powering them up, but we just need that main one, behind the Civic Center. Because it's going to help us in the long run as far as any kind of negotiations with the village and stuff like that. Because now that's exactly what we're collecting.
Right.
It's not what we're making; it's what they're making water and everything. We're collecting it, so that's there's a whole different.
Yeah, collecting data, sure.
Yeah.
Regina did send us at one point in time a list of all
Yeah.
of our grants and stuff, so maybe an email just to know. Because that would be important to know also. There's no line item in the sewer for, we spoke about it at our last meeting, engineering
And attorneys.
and attorneys.
We spent a lot of money this the
Correct.
last couple.
So-
That's a lot of that in the budget.
And that has to be budgeted for within your budget, so if any of these are,
Well, it's coming out of contractual currently. Like it's
Right.
not broken down. Like, I mean,
For
all of that expense comes out of contractual, just like in the building department. It's contractual. Jason just had a nice list for us that showed what comes out and how he got to that final.
Right.
Round noser.
but to have a line item for it, or
Jason.
you can blame him for us asking.
That's okay. No, I just oh, Jason, I like him.
But yeah, like, so contractual for Keith, I mean, a huge portion of it is the electric, because just the electric to run that plant each month is like.
That's 6,000. And actually it fluctuates. Like I said, it went from 45, it'll jump to 55, it'll be
Right.
$6,000. It comes back down. It just whatever it changes month to month, but it's still a big nut. I can remember when it was 3,200, 35.
So isn't,
Yeah.
if Nancy, I think I saw Nancy Graves today, is she still down there? If she maybe could pull an Excel spreadsheet together quickly?
She still comes down. She's just up at we're helping Candace this week.
Yeah,
Not. She's got a couple more weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's September.
that might be helpful, useful, if she could do that.
Yep. Definitely.
Quick too, days worth of work maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so that's 8130.
And Okay, for the collection system, we've really never done anything in the collection system other than maintain what we've done.
Why do we budget $5,000 for personal services? Do you
I
know?
think that's just to go out and collect meters and do any kind of work in the collection system.
Okay.
Because I'm out there like just lately, we've been out there a lot, But, we go up every Tuesday and we do meter readings and then we just check flows. Just at the pump stations, both Riverview and the Baptist Church, and Division Street.
So do
That's
you
all
take money from this personal services when you're doing that kind of work?
Yes, I document every time I leave the plant. Like if I go to Leach Aid, that's on our timesheet. So Linda keeps that separate.
Okay.
So like that comes out of this.
So you don't necessarily get a $5,000 stipend for
No,
this.
that's just money in there
They
for
just
me to
break
go
it
out
down.
there and do the work and everything.
That's
Same with leach
separate
aid.
from 80/90 though, right? Because there's 4,200 and.
Well, yeah, that's leach aid,
That's
so
leach
that's the
aid.
same thing. All I do is that there's a budget, because if the guys go out there, they put on their timesheet that they went out and did whatever they did. So it's just for time payroll, and it's spread out for whoever goes out there.
Okay.
It's not any individual, it's like during now leach aid, we go out there and I test it, I'm filling the lagoon, and we're doing that. And so then the money is just the hourly stuff that I do out there. And then mowing and taking care of the grounds. And then, we got chem lawn service out there. And then lab. So that's just a payroll. That's just, they put $5,000 in there to pay our salaries for the year out there.
Right.
And
And they
that's-
differentiate between 8120 and 8130
Yes.
and 8090.
Yes, because the village pays $81.30, so
Right.
they make sure that I document anything I may leave the plant, that it's documented that if I work at any of those other places.
Okay.
So I got our time sheet is a little different than everybody else's.
And do you get overtime, Keith?
Yes.
You do.
What is this, slip lining?
It's
81-20?
a less invasive way to fix the pipes underneath. They'll come in, they clean it, they camera, they jet it, clean it, camera it, and they mark out the laterals, anything like that, and make sure that it's worth slip lining, I guess. And then what they do, it's like a sock. They blow it in, and then they blow it, and it goes right out, goes all the way down to whatever length you're doing. And then when it comes out the other end, then just cut it off, and it cures the inside of the pipe. It just lines the inside of the pipe with a chemical,
It's like a polyurethane.
Yeah. And then they go back in with a robot, and it cuts, because they'll mark all the laterals footage, and then they go back in with a little camera and a robot, and then it'll go out and it'll just cut the opening up for each lateral coming off everybody's house.
And you're keeping it at 42,000?
Well,
No, he's got it up to.
no, I got to
50
do
or
50 and
60.
60. Because you can do it, because it's all by footage and how many laterals you have and stuff like that.
Do you
So
know what you're at for the year so far?
we've never done it,
Okay.
So what do we do with that $42,000 that was
It
in the
just
budget
sits there.
for? It just sits there.
And it was 50 last year, 2025.
Yeah, it went down.
42 this year.
We've never used it, but we've never, because like I said, we've never done any kind of work out there.
So the rationale for increasing it is what?
Well, I would just like the slip line, and if the order of slip line, it's it's $45 a foot. It's 370 feet. It's roughly 16,000. So to do this one, it was like 8-inch line, and it was 20 grand. And just to go one little street,
For this, for 2027?
go
50,000?
back to 50.
He's got 50 or 60.
So my question though is, if it was budgeted for this year, why wasn't it done?
Because I just never got into it, never. I mean, we've had, that money's been the same money every year, all the years I've ever worked here. We've never done anything with it. We've never physically went out and did it. We've had, like I said, we've done smoke testing. They've done all kinds of I&I over the years, and we just never did it.
And that's
So
why
just
there's-
basically operators, us as operators, we never done.
So seeing as you have 42 right now, would you be able to get some of it done this year because it's budgeted for, and then remain the same for next year?
I can reach out and touch base and see what that,
You think it's needed?
There's definitely sections where, we could definitely use it.
Okay.
You know?
Because if not, I was gonna say, don't.
You know,
budget
but it's
for
just
it.
like, we gotta go back through and
So what
pick an
happens
area.
is, if he doesn't use that money, and he hasn't used that money in the past, it goes to fund balance at the end of the calendar year. So that's why he has some money in fund balance, because there's money in his budget left over every year that you don't necessarily do an interline budget transfer. At the end of the year, whatever's remaining goes to fund balance, and then you can use it for whatever
So
line.
it's in fund balance right now.
That's,
I don't know,
I don't know what your balance.
they always told me we couldn't save money, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it, I don't know whatever happens to that money, if it gets moved around, or like, do they give the credit back to the village? I don't know. That's a kind of a thing that,
Are we comfortable with putting $50,000 in the
Well,
budget?
I think we need to find out. I mean, if there was $50,000 in 2025, 42 this year, and we haven't used it, we're at 92,000. And if it goes to fund balance, what can be used?
It's in fund balance right now. 'Cause it has
Well, not 2026 isn't. But anything that was left over in 2025,
Right, and if it was 50,000 and
But-
it wasn't used,
you have to remember, once it goes to fund balance, it can be used for anything within the sewer fund. It
right.
can't be used for another fund, but, so if we needed money this year and any money came out of fund balance, you're deducting whatever may have been left over from previous years.
So I guess we should find out what is left in fund balance
Correct.
and what was utilized with the sewer. Because you
There's
did
about
have some,
200,000 in fund balance.
I'm sorry?
There's about 200,000 in fund balance right
And
now.
you had some heavy hits this year with some of these pumps and stuff. Did that come out of fund balance? I don't recall.
well, no, I mean, we just didn't have our regular budget.
Okay.
Yeah, I've never, hit it, everything I've ever spent is out of our budget.
There may have been transfers that Keith might not know about. I don't know. Would have to go back and look this year.
Because I thought, like, even the 50 or whatever it was there, you said, I thought Regina took some of that and used it towards engineering fees or something.
I don't think he can.
Oh, you can't? I don't know. Because I thought zero, so I didn't know what,
Well, I think we should look into it, because if it's
I didn't know what.
$200,000 sitting there for the SS fund, I mean, there's your final clarifier right there, right? I mean, just use that. There's your shower. You have $200,000.
Mhm.
The problem though is if something happens
Right.
Yeah,
and we
no.
need that money, like that's like an emergency fund for
Well,
the
that's
school.
it.
Right, it wouldn't deplete it.
Yeah, no.
Sure.
that's-
But it sounds like the final clarifier is sort of something that needs to get done.
Well, yeah, and it's like I said, there's so many, things that we could tackle, but it's like I wanted to tackle two big things, and those were the two things I thought were the best things to tackle right now. The other ones we can work with, and everything, and then we'll work on those ones,
Yeah, I think it's, like I said before, I think it's sort of a conversation that you should have with Regina and maybe Mr. Donnelly towards the end of the year and say, where am I with my budget? If I have extra, or if more is even going in after this year, what can I use it for?
Yeah.
And let's start fixing some of these things that we have issues with.
The nice thing is if we have, let's say, if the first meeting in October, while it would be an ask to bring the department heads here to do the third quarter numbers, at least we would have that information prior to us finalizing our budget.
Yeah, sure. I agree.
Plus, like, I am not a big spender. I kind of procrastinate and talk myself out of doing things personally, so it's kind of the same here. It's like I know I got it, but I always want to save it in case of emergencies. So I just don't really spend a lot of money.
I personally, though, would like to get on the trend where every year we knock off a project. And if
And
we
I
get
would-
grant money and we can do 2 or
More.
3 or 4 or whatever,
Yeah.
great. But I'd like to at least know that going forward,
Yeah. Because I like to do 9W, like, that's where I'd like to slip mine, because we know we have issues up there. And so it'd be nice to do those because we have a lot of water issues up there, so that's a
I mean,
big
if you
issue.
have
But
that in the
that's a
budget
state
this year,
road though, so
look
it
into
makes it a little bit more expensive to do.
Yeah.
That's a state road, so that's like barriers, more, because they're shutting down a lane. So that's why I tried to pick side streets or something like that in the hamlet, stuff like that. So it's a smaller, we can do more footage and get more covered without being on a main road.
And 8090 is, you already
Yeah, the leachate.
explained, 2.1.
Yeah, leachate is just, We don't really do much out there other than lab and collect the samples and stuff like that. We just had some big labs for the PFAS and stuff like that and everything to get our permit renewed. So probably should be good for another 5 more years as far as big testing is and stuff like that out there. But yeah, pretty much everything's good out there. It's an older building and that.
Yeah, I guess I'd like to know how much of the 15,000 in 2026 we spent so far. I mean, you have to pay for electric out there.
You know,
So that's a
electric
contractual
is more
spend.
during the summertime than it is in the winter. You know, it's like $300 and it's like $100 during the winter.
Yeah.
And that we pay for to heat it during the wintertime.
Yeah.
Chemicals.
Propane, that, and it's just lab basically, and the chemicals, a couple bags of chemicals a year.
Right.
You know, but chlorine is the biggest item out there because we use chlorine to knock down the ammonia and stuff like that. So that barrel's that's $500, say $560, I think it is. And I just picked one up today, actually.
Okay, that looks good.
So, yeah, we don't do a lot out there. I mean, because we did a big ticket, we did a liner out there just a few years ago. We had a new liner put in, so we're all good with that one. Because those are the biggest thing.
Are we all on the same page that at our next meeting, we're asking for quarterly reports so we know where some of this money has been spent? I know at 2
Not-
meetings ago.
Not the next, I was thinking at the next quarter, at the end of the next
So in
quarter.
October?
Yeah.
Okay. You did mention it at the
I did mention it in
Yeah.
June, yeah.
That's valuable.
Yeah, I think it would be really important. But I just want to make sure also that that message is getting out to every department head in each department so that when it comes, it's done. And if Regina or whoever else can be of assistance, I don't want anyone to be informed or told a week before because it
Right.
seems like a pretty big undertaking. And having never done it before, so.
And we may want to think about for our September and October
Workshop?
workshops, that it's just that's just the budget. And we've never done that historically. You know, usually, you know, we have this meeting, we have maybe a follow-up meeting, but we don't actually sit down as a board during those times leading up to, you know, voting on the budget. So, you know, that might be something worthwhile. And then at September, we can, as a board, can talk about it. And then maybe in October or anytime in between, we can bring you guys back and, you know, talk about it.
You haven't had regularly scheduled budget meetings until this year, correct?
We haven't had workshop meetings.
Workshop
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
No, we have not.
So
No.
I agree. I think September, October, use those workshops for budget.
Yeah.
I mean, the school does it,
Yeah. I
they
agree.
add it, you know, so I think it's important.
Thanks, Keith.
Thanks, Keith.
Thank you.
Perfect time.
Transition over here.
I'll help you, Keith. Hey, Rich. Michael. How you doing?
I'm just gonna step back real quick before we
Yep.
start.
Not allowed. I hate to hear that there might be a possible error on this sheet again.
Maybe there's a solid solution.
In this case, they were paid more than what was on the list.
Right. I don't think they're gonna argue. 6:00 on the money.
How are you?
I wasn't recording at all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no.
Just as an aside, Candace mentioned that somebody should take notes. She also discussed, Michael and her discussed the possibility of Michael doing that unless a board member wants to do it. I think she needs somebody to take notes. She's also going to review the video to prepare the minutes, but
I'm comfortable with that.
I appreciate that, Michael.
Oh, no problem.
you wanna,
You might want to come sit over here.
Okay, well, while you're up, I convene this meeting, this regular meeting of the town board of the town of Queens.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, let the record reflect that all the members are present. Public announcement, we, as everyone knows, suffered some storm damage on the 29th of July. I'd like every resident to know that on our website and on our Facebook pages, there's a link for New York State individual assistance. I just put another one up today, so share with your friends and neighbors who may have sustained damage from that storm. The county and the state want as much information as they can possibly get. Okay, approval of minutes. We all received the July 23, 26 minutes and had a chance to review them.
Yep.
I'd like to make a motion to accept them into the record.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to abstain from voting on that. I was not here for that meeting, so I did review them, but I wasn't here.
Okay. Old businesses, first one on old businesses, Queens Industrial Park and the Albany County pilot approvals. The Albany County IDA website had a resolution approving the project on the 5th of this month. They had their meeting. Proposed financial assistance includes approximately $390,000 in property tax benefits, $237,000 in sales tax exemptions, and $75,000 in mortgage recording tax exemptions. So estimated total of over $700,000. The IDA's project evaluation materials state that the project does not have local support. As of today, there's no meeting minutes or executed pilot agreement posted publicly on that front.
I don't know that we could say that it doesn't have total local support. I think there are.
It says it in there. I'm just quoting what I've read
Gotcha.
on their website.
Okay.
Further, the approvals of the code enforcement office had approved the floodplain application and issued a building permit. My office was in contact with the code enforcement office for about, I guess about 2 or 3 weeks, going back to July, to try to determine what he was using to make his determinations. There was no real response from the office. He was also waiting for a certificate from Ingalls Engineering, which he also didn't provide. So there were some questions. I think the latest one was from Councilperson Grogan about his determination. And I would like to go through the points that you were making to check the minutes. I think your first one was check the minutes from 2020, 2021, where there was a different planning board and a different
Well, that's who
What is the
approved it.
relevance
And
of
the
this
CEO.
discussion? It's old business. The building
The
department
relevance
has-
is the residents have contacted me that they are interested and they're concerned and they want this news, so that's why I'm
So-
bringing, that's.
Okay, but the
on
building department has issued a building permit, and the Albany County IDA has granted the pilot.
Correct.
So what does a discussion with Ms. Grogan have to do with anything that has to do with
She
what has
wrote
already
that
been
she would be
done?
happy to be more than happy to discuss it at this meeting, so.
No,
we're
no,
discussing it.
and I said we could further discuss it at this meeting, because 3 times I've asked why this is on the town website and can it be removed? And I have not gotten a response or an answer to that yet. So, I mean, that part I wasn't going to bring up publicly, but if you want to talk about that, that's fine. I don't think that should be on the front page of our town webpage. Maybe in planning and zoning or somewhere else, that's fine. I've sat on the planning and zoning board with 2 contentious cases, and I don't ever recall those being front and center on our town webpage. I just don't want to muck up our town webpage on stuff that people may or may not disagree with, because everyone's entitled to their opinion, respectfully so. And also, sitting on that planning and zoning board, knowing how the process works, one time did I have the town board intervene, and it went south. Because the purpose of the 2 boards is not to be undermined by one board versus the other. I have actually spoken with Jason several times about this. My own personal opinion, I don't think it's cool that this town board is either undermining decisions that may have done.
Well, it's not this town board, but
Well, okay. I mean, I like to think of us as a whole, and it represents us sometimes.
I had no
So-
decision-making on what gets posted on the town board. I didn't give a yay or nay. So it's not a town board thing.
Well, the planning board as a whole, they did not, that current planning board that's there, they didn't make this decision. And they're being undermined and questioned, and it's not looking good. I do want to go back to, you had said that there are several residents that are not in support of this and are questioning it. I think if we're going to sit there and say that, then I think their names need to be stated for the record.
Or they
So-
need to come here in person and they need to talk.
Once
in
again, this
public comment.
information came from the Albany County Alliance, it's on their, the Albany County IDA.
No. You just said that several residents have spoken to
To you,
you. They
personally.
said something. So and that's great and fine. But I also think if it's going to be brought here to the table, then we either need a letter from them with their name. We ask people to stand on this podium and we ask them to state their name, where they're from. So I think the same needs to be done. If there's people in this community that are opposed to it, and if they're sending you an email, then I think that email needs to be read into the record, and I think their name needs to be divulged, because I think it's important for the public. I do have, Mr. Laraway's here, I had no idea I'd be here tonight. I do have a question, though, that I think is relevant, and I don't know if.
Do we really want to get into this?
Well, here's my
I
question.
mean, this doesn't
How
make
much
sense to
money
me.
is this bringing to the community? And I understand it's a pilot. We have no control over that. So the IDA, whatever they do, we may not like it, but we have no control. How much money is this project going to bring to the community? And even more important, are there any pilots that are currently within the current industrial park that are expiring and are going to bring more money? So is this almost like a wash? I don't know. But I think it's important, because if we're getting more money from the industrial plan, or are we losing money? So I'm not understanding why we're continually proceeding with this.
I don't understand why we're talking about this. I mean, if the idea to put it on old business was to give the public an update and to say that, the building department has approved the building permit and the Albany County IDA has approved the pilot, then fine, give that update. But why we're still talking about it now is beyond me. But
The answer to that is because the residents have concerns, and it's my job to address those concerns and ask questions,
it's over.
just as
The
a.
decisions have been made.
Right, so that's the message that the residents need to know, is
That our building
that
department
has made
rendered
their
a decision,
made their
and the Albany County
determination,
IDA has made a decision.
and that the building department has also ignored the questions coming out of my office one after the other. And you made those points, Ms. Grogan, in your email.
I also think it's important to note, do we announce all other permits and applications? I mean, we just had a pretty big applicant get a use variance, and it was both at the town board and the planning board, and we're not announcing what their outcome was. So I think that's important to note also. Like, I don't know. I do respectfully ask that this project be removed from the front of our page. If you want to put it somewhere else, I think the front of our page should be utilized for positive things that are happening in this community. You want to put pictures from the farmer's market on it. You want to put, all of your pictures with the flood water, like, because we're helping people, have at it. We need to be putting positive stuff on the front of our board, not stuff that someone may agree or disagree.
So it's purely facts that were posted. There's no opinion. As a matter of fact, this town appreciates the tax base from the industrial community. The point that the residents are trying to make through me is they feel like they don't have any voice in the process. They don't understand.
There were public hearings.
They don't understand why they can't ask questions at a public hearing that the IDA presents.
Because that's not how a public hearing runs.
They don't know. That's why we're bringing this information. We're trying to show the town transparency by showing how the process works, where they have some control and where they have no control. You stated yourself, they have no control over the code enforcement office. They have no control.
No, I said they have no control over the
Albany
IDA.
County IDA.
They have no control over the
They
IDA.
have no control over what
They kind of did. They had a public hearing. People from the town of Queens went to the public hearing that was held at.
But we, as this board, we have no control over what their outcome is going to be.
We don't have a control in their decision, but the public absolutely had a say during the public comment period time.
Right. So then that's why they posted on their website that it doesn't have local support, because it doesn't. So the residents want to know, what are the next steps? So it's my job
Do we know what the
to try
outcome
to
was from the school?
articulate that at a town meeting. This is
Okay.
to answer your first question,
Okay.
why are we talking about this? That's the answer.
Okay.
Can my question be answered? Will this be removed, or is this going to stay up for the rest of the year?
Well, it's over. It should be removed now.
There's actually more information to bring forward, so there will be more, and the town should know what's going on. And we do now
what
have
more
the
information
technology
is there?
to show what is going on. That's why we increased laser fees. That's why we brought near maps to this town. That's why we have Apex for the assessor's office.
If there's more information shouldn't it have been brought forward to the planning board? I'm not understanding the role of this town board involving themselves with a permit that was issued.
We don't have anything to do with the planning board. They make their determinations and we make ours. They're two separate
And
entities.
we're supposed to run as separate boards. But you just said there's more information. What more information is coming forward? They got the permit, the IDA made their decision. So what more information is coming forward?
I guess my question right now is, if you had these questions for Mr. Shimeleski and you put them in writing to Mr. Shimeleski and you didn't get answers to your questions from Mr. Shimeleski, why didn't you knock on his door and say, I'm waiting for answers?
I've been speaking with him for weeks before he made his determination. He said he was waiting for a certificate from Ingalls. And the questions that I had for him, I spoke with him in his office and my office, and they didn't really make sense. They didn't seem to conform with the codes that we have and the laws that we have. So I wanted the board to understand and his determinations for him to write them out, which he refused to do. So the residents need to know that I'm doing my job by trying to bring transparency through the process, and that I'm not getting a response from multiple entities, including our code enforcement office. The residents.
It's on, Mike. Sorry. We just got a message that there was no sound. I'm sorry.
I mean, if this discussion right now is for the town board to talk about the fact that you didn't get answers from our code enforcement officer, then I think it's a discussion that we should have an executive session to talk about the code enforcement officer and the fact that he didn't provide you with answers.
We're not treading over legal ground right now. We're just presenting factual basis of how the town is running at this point.
But we're talking about an employee of the town of Queens.
I'm talking about
And
the
you're,
code.
and you're sitting up here.
I'm talking about the
saying-
code enforcement office. I never used
I didn't say you
the
did.
name Jason
I didn't-
or Mr. Chmielewski.
Well, now you did.
As you did. Well, he is the chief officer. He said it in his email. He's the chief officer, the code officer. So
I'm just saying,
that's not a secret.
I don't
It's on
understand.
our website.
What is your goal right now of having this discussion? So you want to inform the
To
public?
clarify, yeah. To
You want to
clarify
inform
the
the public?
questions that Councilperson Grogan asked.
She can ask her own questions. She doesn't need
And like
you.
I said, I've sent 2 text messages to this entire board, and I've sent an email, and I still haven't gotten an answer. I don't need that answer here. I'm just really
You
confused.
actually do, because
No, I don't.
I'm not
I
going to
don't.
have clandestine conversations
I don't, because
with
this
each
board
and every
does not.
person, like the
That's
code
fine.
enforcement officer asked us to do come at one at a time. If he's making determinations based on the law, based on the code, he should easily be able to put that in an email so that we all have the same information, not that you're going in after I talk to him and then Mike goes in and talks to him. How is that transparent at all for the town of Queens, for the residents, when everybody is getting different information? We don't know who they were talking to. You said that you had a personal conversation with him and a personal conversation with Nick Blaraway. What was that conversation about?
Asking these exact questions prior to this meeting. And I just stated those
So we should
questions
answer
that
them.
I would like to know is how much money is this bringing? I mean, to me, I would want to know more about that. Is this going to raise revenue for our town in this community? I mean, so to me, that's important. And
I
if
would
we
imagine
have-
$700,000 in tax exemptions would bring the revenue down.
That means
for
we're
this
getting a
community.
zero? Like, so no. And are there pilots that are going off? So I think there could be a positive. I don't know, because in my opinion, nothing but negativity has been spewed on this. And I also know, sitting on that planning board for almost 3 years, if any decisions that I made were undermined by the current town board from the people that appointed members on there, I tell you right now, I wouldn't feel really good about myself.
But that's not what's happening right now. What's happening is the supervisor is laying claim to the fact that Mr. Chmielewski did not respond to emails and questions that Mr. Donnelly had requested. And it's almost like he's using this opportunity to admonish Mr. Chmielewski rather than just dealing with it behind closed doors.
That's not transparency. Transparency isn't just some word that you say. You actually act it out. And that's what we're doing right now.
Okay, we need to move on, because
And
this
to move
really
on
does
to
not
your-
need to be
to
public.
let you know what the residents are saying
Mr.
to me is,
Laraway, I
why
am going
don't
to ask you
they?
to wait for public comment, sorry.
I don't
We're not
understand
at public
why
comment.
you go to bat so much for everybody but the town of Queens.
I
You are
sat on
fighting
that
tooth
planning
and nail
board.
for Albany County.
I'm fighting
and-
for what you're doing to the planning board. And to,
I'm not doing
He's not
anything
doing
to the planning.
planning board.
well, it does have a reflection on it undermining their decision on this from 2020. I wasn't on there in 2020, but I
Well, you were
also,
the chairperson.
I
in
was the chairman.
2020.
so it
Why is
doesn't
that
look-
undermining?
And
Ask
I'm not
questions.
offended by any means, believe me.
And then to go after Mr. Chmielewski
You're
on,
framing it as going after. It's asking questions, and that is my job.
and he's given you answers. You don't like the answers.
He has not given us answers.
Well,
You
I'll
were
say
on
this.
the email
You
chain.
know, and there was in defense, there were several questions asked, and they were well written questions that could have, I think, fairly easily been given answers to, so that we all could have the exact same answers. I had asked in a separate email that I sent to all of you that could you please enter these emails so that we could, look upon them in reflection at later dates. And he said, no, you need to come in and talk to me, one-on-one.
Well, I guess-
And I can understand, and I can appreciate that. But at the same time, if your board or supervisor is asking you specific questions, you should probably answer those.
And I guess I know the intricacies of the Planning and Zoning Board, having sat there. It's not a simple, sending out an email, because there's more to it than, it's not just, there's more to it than just, this is why I did it. So that is why I said, pick up the phone, call him, or go in. Your office is right next to him. You have that perfect opportunity to
So
talk
I'll
to him
give you an
on a regular
example.
basis.
I'll
Okay?
give you an example to
But I
that.
do think for the public,
If you want, before you move on to your next point,
no, I'm not moving
I
on to
will
any
give
point.
you
I
an
think we need
example.
to move on our
When I
agenda.
saw the floodplain application from 2015 and it didn't have the then CEO's signature or approval on it, I asked Jason about it, and his response was, the application is the approval. So that raises a bunch of questions because that's factually false. The application is not the approval. So more questions followed. And as those questions followed and no responses were satisfactory, I brought the board into it.
Then I think you should continue these conversations with him, and it should not be here.
The conversations went on for weeks, literally 2 weeks. I spoke to him about this because I knew that his determination was coming up, and I just wanted to make sure that everything was above board for the residents. He could show why he made these determinations, and we could move on. That didn't happen.
I was happy speaking with him, and I got the answers. So I
I'm
would
glad you were
recommend
happy for it,
that you
but the
continue speaking
residents
with him.
and the board have every right to know how the code enforcement office is making
Then
decisions.
continue your conversations with him. We need to move on.
You're not in control of this meeting, and that's not what's happening. What's happening
Stop
is I am
talking to
going to
people like
give
that,
you
first of all.
the answers to the questions that you have. You're not running this meeting either. So just
I don't have to run the meeting.
Yeah,
but I'm
you're
going
not.
to tell you to watch
so
your
to
tone.
answer your question, you don't tell you can watch your own tone. We're
I'm
all
not doing
adults
anything.
here, okay?
Yeah, no kidding.
Hopefully we are.
I'm telling you, don't
So
speak
to move
her that way.
on, well,
If you would
If
like
you
to come
stop
back to this,
interrupting, that
if
would
you
be
would like to
great.
come
Really?
back
So
to
that's
this-
your excuse?
If you would like to come back to this, that's fine, but can we move on so we can make progress?
it's old business and we haven't even finished yet. So you asked questions about local law number 9, and you said that it was superseded by chapter 93 of the town code. That's also factually incorrect. None of the floodplain application was approved with 0 documentation. We haven't received any yet.
I don't need the documentation. The decision has been made. Carry on.
Well, the residents want to see documentation.
Okay, so
If the town,
con-
if 2
continue
members of the
on.
town board do not care
Continue on.
to see documentation, I guess
Can
that's another issue for
can I-
another time.
Can I ask anyone in the audience if anyone here has any questions or concerns about this? Because
You're not gonna
But
start.
I'm
to do
continually
this.
hearing.
Patricia.
It's all BS. Just shut up, please.
Excuse me.
Everybody,
Either.
everybody.
All of you grow up. You're all cussing and fighting with each other up there.
Just
Very good.
We will
stop the
we
back and
will
forth.
interact with each other.
Not in a hostile
Okay,
way.
it's
I'm
fine.
not hostile at all.
Okay.
I have no
Let's
problem
just
coming back to
continue.
it, but so that we
We're
can
okay.
move
Please
forward,
carry on.
can we, so we can make progress on this meeting, can we please move on the agenda and then come back to it if you'd like?
Okay, so for the residents, we did not receive any documentation on the determination that was made by the code enforcement office. Just as well, we are not quite sure about the Albany County IDA until they post publicly their resolution and, for people to understand. Moving on. Zoning code amendments, comprehensive review and RFP discussion. So our legal department has given us an RFP that we all reviewed. Is the board comfortable with moving forward?
Not yet. I think there are some blanks that have to be filled in. I think there's some conversation that has to be had.
That's what I mean, and comfortable with filling in the blanks? With times and dates?
As far as I'm concerned, I'm not ready to move forward with the RFP.
For the comprehensive.
Has everybody had a chance to review it? And
Gone over it thoroughly.
No, I think
I haven't
next
gone over
meeting,
it thoroughly
possible.
either.
there you go.
That's fine.
Okay.
None of us have gone over it thoroughly, so it wouldn't be fair to move on.
Yeah, but on a side note, other than that, 'cause I know the RFP was for, not comprehensive plan, as a zoning.
Comprehensive zoning
Revamp. But, we did have a couple local laws that we had talked about and spent some time on. One was the recreation center, which I think we're going to sort of let rest for now. And the other one that was brought up that we spent some time on was the redefinition of a transportation terminal, as well as the general contractor yard. And I agree too that we sort of need to revamp the zoning code, but who knows how long that could take, when it's going to start, when it's going to finish. So I don't want to just assume that we're just going to eventually have a zoning change, zoning code change, a revamp, and just let some low-hanging fruit just sit there and rot. I do think we should still talk about, we should still fine-tune, and then act on changing the definition of a transportation terminal, and also at the same time have the contractor yard instituted. I think that sort of is, catering to both sides and some of our concerns when we first brought it up. And I know we did hear back from the Planning and Zoning Board with some of their recommendations, but I still think, regardless of that, we can talk about it and work with it and fine tune it to really fix something that I think is a definite problem in the current zoning code. So I just want that to fall off the radar as like, oh, we're just going to do a revamp. Like, who knows if and when that's going to happen. So if we have low-hanging fruit that we could sort of nip in the bud sooner rather than later, I say we keep talking about it and try to come to a conclusion.
I absolutely agree. I think the contractor yard protects the residents, and I think it protects the residents that actually have what we are describing as the contractor yard. And as we're looking at the RFP that it took weeks to draft, and now that it seems like it's gonna take weeks for the board to review it, I do think that we should, and I think we nailed down the contractor yard definition as what was the last thing we had on that? We had it completed.
We had a draft that we felt was sufficient to send to the planning board. They've sent some comments.
Their recommendations.
We've not taken further action since then.
And due to their recommendations, we requested to have an RFP
done.
for the zoning code, which is where we got. I would like to go back to their recommendation letter, which also puts us back to that RFP and then goes back to the definitions that were there. And I would like to review and discuss again what their pros or cons were for that, because we did not discuss it.
No, we didn't.
So I think that's what we need to do. That's my
And
opinion.
honestly, we need to finalize this RFP. We need to get it out there as soon as possible. We need to get proposals back so that we don't even have an understanding of what the time frame is or what it is even going to cost. So if we don't do this, if we don't finalize this, as far as going back to the contractor yard, okay, yeah, I'll entertain Mr. Stott's, thought that he wants to revisit it. I'm okay with that, but we also really need to get this reviewed and finalized.
So the board is in agreement that they're going to review the RFP for our next meeting, so that we can move forward with that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I think it would be useful if, at the same time, we had a legal department revisit the contractor yard definition.
Well, I don't think there's anything for the legal department to do at this point in time. It's up to us to take a look at the planning board's recommendation letter and apply it to how we want to go forward with what we currently have drafted. If after we talk about it, we determine that we need legal to go back and revamp what's currently there, or if we approve it, then we can move forward. But
And I think, we're very familiar with the draft law. We previously read the comments back from the planning board. So I think if we knew it was on an agenda and going to be addressed, we'd be prepared to give you our thoughts on how we could or could not accommodate the planning board comments.
So in coordination with the RFP, is the board comfortable with reviewing the materials that we already have from the planning board and the draft of the contractor yard? We already have the materials.
I think we need to, because we really didn't have an in-depth conversation or discussion about what their recommendations were. So before we jump back to it, I think we need to discuss their recommendation, which landed us to this RFP.
Okay,
If
so
you need us to recirculate anything, just let us know and we can shoot that out.
appreciate that.
so
Thank you.
emails will be coming out of my office to the board members that we're moving forward on this for the 27th.
We'll discuss it more on the 27th. Yes.
That sounds good.
Okay, new business we took care of. The assessor training discussion, was there any more discussion that anybody wanted to have? We kind of brushed over it with Dawn earlier.
If we go to old business, like the truck traffic line kill outdoor extension.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We were waiting for a letter from you guys.
Oh, yeah.
It's on my to-do list still. I apologize. I had a question that come up that
No.
Sort of put me back a little bit.
Okay. Sure. No problem.
It's a priority.
The Ravena Rescue
Just saying with
Squad.
the rescue squad, yeah, there was, we're moving forward on it. The storm set us back a little bit. I actually did have a conversation with Travis.
Oh, good. That was one of my questions.
Yeah.
We've done some research on the permissive referendum piece. We think there may be a path forward, but we want to confirm that before we give you a definitive.
When do you think you could have that definitive answer?
I would think by the 27th, right? And Michael's been digging in on it.
Awesome.
Mr. Schmidt, did you hear back at all? I know you said you had contacted Mohawk.
I did contact Mohawk.
Did
I
they
have
get
not.
back to you?
I have not heard back from them yet with regards to a specific cost that
Okay.
they would be willing to provide at this point in time. I will follow up with them. We did some introductory exchanges, and they know who we are. They know what we're looking to get. They don't know that they're even going to be able to help us, given the mileage between us and their headquarters and where they have substations. It just may not be feasible.
Right.
And also the price. If they were to even say, okay, yes, we can guarantee you that we can respond to the call and we can be there by X period of time, the cost may be astronomical.
Sure.
So I will follow up with them. I will try to get a more specific price. But that's where we are with Mohawk at this point in time.
Okay, great, thank you.
While we're on that topic, we got the information from Albany County. So for 2027, Albany County is gonna go from $373,546.15 to $389,587.19. So that's an increase of $16,041.04 for 2027. So with that being said, if the plan is to move forward with the district, and if they are going to encompass Albany County's price, that $16,000 is going to be a higher budget number than what they've already proposed to us, because they were going off to 2026. So just kind of know that too. And we've seen what's happened since 2015. Albany County has raised their rates by 92%. And the rescue squad is only at where they were in 2015.
Because Albany County is ALS, right?
Albany County is
And
ALS.
we provide the BLS.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
So I don't know how you negotiate with Albany County,
Competition, which we don't have any.
which we don't yet.
Except for this, possibly.
Right.
Yeah.
And honestly, they're the subject matter experts. They're the ones that should be going to Albany County and saying, wait a minute. This is why you're not going to charge $389,000. We can't just say, okay, $389,000, we'll pay it. There has to be some sort of, and I think having the district would help kind of play a role in that as well. We do have some numbers that I have shared with the board as far as increases and what the district's budget is. Those numbers haven't been finalized. I will follow up with Dawn and make sure that she can get us a more final quote. But if you recall back in May, the numbers were provided to me and I did share them with the board. So I can, recirculate that information so that everybody has it, but those numbers, according to Dawn, were not set in stone at that point in time. So I guess my questions as far as the ambulance district is concerned is, has everyone on this board reviewed the MAP plan and report? Are you comfortable with discussing?
2023, that one?
Yeah.
So? Yeah.
That's the only one we have currently. That's the only one, Rich and Michael are working off of that, but we as a board, we need to talk about that and we need to figure out whether that's the path that we want to take or whether there's other ways that we want to try to manage this district.
Have you look into that at all?
Not in its entirety.
It's a lot of material.
Yeah,
I get it. But it is something that we have to really, put on our radar. Like we have to come to a decision so that we can let Rich and Michael know, yes, based upon this map plan and report from 2023, that's kind of how we want to go. If if there are things that are like, no, we don't want that, then we have to let them know so that they can figure out if it's legal to go a different path or not. My other question was, has anybody reached out to Travis directly? It sounds like Supervisor, you had a conversation with Travis, so that's good. I don't know if, Ms. Grogan, you've had one since our last committee meeting, but, we did have a committee meeting maybe 2 months ago, 3 months ago, maybe. It may be time to have another committee meeting. I'm not sure if it's warranted yet or not, but,
Well, I think it's always beneficial to stay in the loop, and so it wouldn't hurt to meet with him briefly, even to give him an update. So I'm open to that meeting with him again.
Yeah, again, I just don't want to waste anybody's time. Like, if there's nothing to talk about and discuss, and it sounds like until we kind of dig into that map plan and report, that draft, after we do that and we have some comments, then it might be worthwhile having a committee discussion.
Other than the permissive referendum question, was there anything specific that the village was waiting on before? Did they communicate that to us in terms of their questions? I think last time there was a reference to us researching something, but it wasn't clear what they wanted.
So I did reach out to Ms. Warner.
Yeah.
She did provide us an email after our last meeting. And she wrote, Steve, at the town workshop I attended, I did state that the village was on board with moving forward to gain more specific info for this district proposal before making a commitment. Since then, we had Travis attend a village workshop and he clarified many aspects and questions for us. He did state that he was waiting on the town attorney to provide some financial info necessary that would be needed to move forward with a public hearing. I do not know exactly what info that is. Travis would be able to share that with you. My reason for emailing was to get an update as to the status of the district proposal from the town's perspective. As soon as the district is comfortable with all the details and ready to discuss further, the village is ready to do the same. Thank you, Nancy. So it sounds like there might have been some confusion as far as, you're not really going to give us the financials, but a part of the map plan and report, there is a page and there is a section in there that talks about the breakdown of the finances. Really what we as a town need to figure out from the village is, are they on board with proceeding?
Because a very different process. And
Like, we need definitively to know, because if they're not, that revamps all of the numbers whatsoever. So we can't really provide any official numbers until we have confirmation that the village is going to,
at least conceptually, that they agree with proceeding, right? I mean, nobody can really make the decision until you have all the data in front of you, but.
So I'll reach back out to Ms. Warner and I'll just let her know.
I am pretty sure in my conversations with the mayor and the deputy mayor, they are conceptually on board with this.
Okay, but I mean, this email, which Mayor Mizuraka is on, doesn't clarify that they are on board.
I have a phone call with him tomorrow anyways. I'll
And I think they want to know how much it's going to cost. And at the time, we also didn't have that 3-year plan. Travis did send it, but I believe you got that recent email where it was lost either in spam or it was sitting there. So he did end up sending that. So I think the numbers are important to the village also. So without having that, and that only came, maybe last,
3 weeks ago.
right.
Yeah, it wasn't the last meeting, it was the meeting before that, so.
Right, so a month ago. So we were waiting on that, and we now have that. But in speaking with them, I think we've spoken with the village twice, and I think they're on board with us that it's a service that's needed, it's warranted, and depending on where those numbers and stuff are gonna go, it did sound like they were on board. So I just think the details is what's important.
Yeah, I just can't provide them with financial information until, it's conceptually known that yes, they are in favor of this and yes, they are going to proceed. They don't have to make a decision, an official decision at a village meeting, but we have to,
I think another important piece too, which it's ironic that it's budget time and we're coming up, is how much money are we going to be receiving, coming in? Is that going to increase significantly? Because that's also going to have a bearing on, how much money, because right now we give them a share. And if we're going to take their piece out of our budget, probably not this year, but so there's so many factors and things that are important. So it's all on financials and we have to have more details on it, so.
Yeah, it's a heavy lift, so we're gonna add it to the 27th then. The board is aware of the RFP, the contractor yard, and now the map plan and report. So,
Yes.
a lot of homework for you guys.
I've been through the map plan and report several times, so.
Was there anything further on the assessor training discussion? We touched on it a bit when Dawn was here earlier.
Yeah, not from me.
No, I think it makes sense.
Okay,
I
good.
think she has to.
Yeah.
And because she rotates it through the other 2 towns that she works for, it's great. We have to pay once every 3 years. And like she said, we get a good portion of that money back. It may not be 80% that she said, but, we do get some
No,
of
I
that
think
money
it's
back.
80%.
Is it 80%?
Yeah, it's
Better than
a good
nothing.
amount. 80, yeah. Okay, so that brings us right to resolutions.
I, Councilmember Bergen, offer the following resolution and move its adoption. Whereas on August 6, 2026, the Town of Queens Highway Superintendent received a notice of resignation from Alex Milas, an Equipment Operator 1. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Queens does hereby accept the resignation of Alex Milas, effective as of August 20th, 2026. The town thanks Mr. Milas for his service and wishes him the best in his future endeavors.
I'll second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye. Before we go any further, just on that topic, and I can wait till after resolutions if you want or not, but I did have a conversation with George LaMountain this afternoon with regards to this resolution. He did inform me that he received another 2-week notice. So currently we are down 2 people. Mr. Milas's last day is the 20th. We'll be down 3 people. And the other individual's last day is the 27th. So come the end of August, if we don't find somebody and we don't hire people, we're going to be down 4 people. And snow plowing season, wintertime, is right around the corner. And if we are down 4 drivers, we are going to be in some serious trouble. The reason I say that is because one of the things that George said to me today is he would like to utilize the Times Union. He's been utilizing Indeed. He's been utilizing some other avenues to try to solicit candidates. He's not liking the candidates that he's getting as a result of these other platforms. He's been told that we don't typically use the Times Union because it's expensive. I don't know what the cost is, but I did tell him that I would bring this to the attention of the board, and I think it's something that we should think about. And if he wants to utilize the Times Union to try to solicit some other candidates, then I think we should really think about making it happen, because we are going to be in some serious, serious trouble.
Yeah, I don't have any issue
I
with
have
that.
no
That
issue.
I have
sounds
no
nice.
issue. And there's
Go ahead.
multiple positions, so it's definitely worth it to advertise on it. And definitely.
Also, I think that would fall way under the procurement policy. He could just do that.
Yeah, again, I think his hesitation was he doesn't want to spend money excessively. He, again, he's been told in the office that, the Times Union is expensive, and historically we haven't used the Times Union. So again, I told him that that's a decision that the board makes. And if we think that it's necessary to utilize the Times Union, then we will. If he has the authority to do it with himself, then I think we need to let him know that. And if he wants to use the Times Union and utilize the funds in his reserve to do it, then he should do it.
Yeah.
But again, at the end of this month, we're going to be down 4 people. And he said right now it's manageable, but it's going to get really, really difficult really, really fast.
We need to be advertising it on our town page and social media pages and get it out there. So if we haven't had an updated posting, we need to make sure we get that.
So he has clarity. Do you want a motion just authorizing him to advertise these positions in the paper in this instance?
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
I, Councilmember Stott, offering the following resolution with its adoption, whereas the Chief Fiscal Officer of the Town of Queens has determined that in order to maintain proper balances within various accounts, an inter-fund transfer is necessary. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Queens does hereby authorize Supervisor Stephen Donnelly to transfer the funds as depicted below for the budget year 2026. General Fund A, the amount of $20,000 from account A 1990.4 contingency to account A 3120.4 law enforcement contractual.
Second, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
I Supervisor Donnelly offer the following resolution and move its adoption. Whereas the Chief Fiscal Officer of the Town of Queens has determined that in order to maintain proper balances within various accounts, amendment to the 2026 budget is necessary. Therefore, be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Queens does hereby authorize Supervisor Stephen Donnelly to amend the 2026 budget as depicted below for the budget year 2026. Increase appropriations A 7550.4, celebrations contractual $2,584.81. Increase appropriated fund balance A 1990.4, contingency contractual $2,584.81.
I'll second it.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye. I, Councilmember Schmidt, offer the following resolution and move its adoption. Whereas the Chief Fiscal Officer of the Town of Queens has determined that in order to maintain proper balances within various accounts, an amendment to the 2026 budget is necessary. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Queens does hereby authorize Supervisor Stephen Donnelly to amend the 2026 budget as depicted below for the budget year 2026. Increase appropriations A 1420.4, attorney contractual, $40,000. Increase appropriated fund balance A 0599, fund balance, $40,000.
I'll second that.
Discussion?
So for discussion, I had a conversation with Regina this afternoon, our business office manager. And as of the end of June 2026, we have currently spent $85,073.28 on attorney's fees. We budgeted for 2026 $80,000. So that's only halfway through the year, and we're already $5,073.28 in the hole. What can we do to try to, because here's $40,000. If you look at what we've spent so far, $40,000 is only going to cover us 3 months. If we've spent 85 and 6, 40 is only going to cover us 3. We're going to have a whole nother quarter, and 40 and 85 is 125. So if we go on projections based upon what we spent so far, we're going to be looking at $160,000 in attorney's fees, which is over double what we budgeted. So what can we do to?
Michael and I did take a look at this because obviously we anticipated that there'd be questions. I think a lot of the expenditures, or I don't think a lot of the expenditures will be recurring. I mean, there was, for example, $12,000 in expenses associated with various personnel matters in the spring. I don't think we had any of those last year. There was a flurry of different activities and an application to the retirement system that increased costs there. I just don't see that recurring. There were approximately $10,000 associated with code enforcement matters, which I don't anticipate recurring. So there are, a number of different categories that seemed fairly unusual for this spring, and I don't see continuing on into the fall.
That's assuring.
But it's part of it,
Yeah.
And we're willing to do as little or as much as you folks direct us to.
And again, I totally value your service and what you provide to us, your expertise. It's needed. I understand that, but we either have to do something in the, especially because we're in budget talks right now. We either have to increase that attorney contractual line significantly, but by doing that, we're going to have to pull money from somewhere else, or we have to figure out how we can somehow cut these costs.
And historically, when you look, at one point I did ask, and I think I was all the way back to 2021 or maybe before that, we have never had attorney fees this high, looking in our past budgets. So now, is any of this money related to anything with the sewer for CDBG? Like, because I know we are able to be reimbursed for some of that.
Yeah, that was approximately 8,000. So, I mean, some of that you should
Right.
see back through that grant process. I defer to Scott Seidel, I guess, in terms of the exact mechanics of that.
I mean,
Yeah, there's a couple of things. There's that, there's the grant, but there's also our agreement with the village.
Correct. That's right.
So, and speaking of that, that's a topic that we have to discuss as well.
Right. We sent a letter out last week, and it just went out last week.
Yeah.
We've not received anything back.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I can't think of one thing that I would say is least important than something else that we would not have our attorneys go after and look into and have them charge us for it. It's just, unfortunately, we've hit things like you said, like the sewer grants, the local laws, the ambulance district, the town and village payment schedule. It's just all, it's personnel issues. All these things, I can't think of one thing that I would say, you know what, we probably could have held off on that. I mean, for the most part, it's the cost of doing business.
But we've gone over budget every year for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Every year we have gone over what we budgeted. So at some point we have to say, okay, we can't do this anymore. We have to amend that budget line item and increase it. But by doing that, we are going to take from something else. And we have to figure out where we're going to take that from. And I'm all out for discussions. You know, again, I understand the value that Mr. Riley and Mr. Rivoli bring to the table for us. But we can't just, keep putting $80,000 in the budget and then spending 120, 130, 140. So
That'll be a budget talk, for sure. If there's no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carries.
I, Councilmember Grogan, offer the following resolution and move its adoption. Whereas the town of Queens, the town, currently participates in a housing choice voucher HCV plan, with respect to local Section 8 housing administered locally by JEM Incorporation to ensure that households in the town can afford safe, decent, and sanitary housing. And whereas the town holds a bank account, the HUD account, at the First National Bank of Scotia in relation to administration of the plan. And whereas in order to streamline deposit transactions into the town's account to ensure timely delivery of funds to the account, to lessen the administrative burden in maintaining the account, and to increase efficiency, JEM Inc. Corporation has requested that the town authorize JEM Inc. to make remote deposits into the HUD account. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Queens does hereby authorize JEM Inc. to remotely deposit funds related to the plan into the town's HUD account at the First National Bank of Scotia. And be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Queens does hereby authorize Supervisor Stephen Donnelly to take such action and execute such documents as may be necessary to effectuate such remote deposit capabilities in accordance with the aforesaid authorization.
I'll second.
Discussion?
I did reach out to Candace and to Regina and they're both on board. This is extremely beneficial. It'll mainstream things, so.
Yeah, we'll make my office very
Absolutely, so.
streamlined. There's a lot of these. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Upcoming meetings, August 20th is the PBDA's next one at 7 p.m. and August 27th. Why does this have? Is our regular?
Because we have a 5 o'clock meeting.
Yeah, our 5
6
o'clock.
meeting.
Okay, so on the 27th, we have our budget department presentations again at 5, and then our regular meeting at 6. Public comment time. Anyone has anything they'd like to share, please step to the lectern.
I'll go last.
What is it, 4 minutes?
Yeah.
If we can just remind the public, please state your name, your address, and you do have 4 minutes.
Linda Geraldson, 187 Fuller Road. I'm actually going to read an email that I just sent to you guys. I've been meaning to get this email off. I wanted to thank Steve Donnelly for being out and about and paying attention to the residents during the last storm. Thank you, Steve, for that. I also want to say I was thoroughly disappointed in the fact that none of the board members reached out to him to ask what they could do, how they could assist, how they could help when he made the decision to close the town. I know there was, or I read something on Facebook about somebody said they had wished he had let them know that Tonka was coming to do an interview. Yet he was alone knocking on residents' doors to ask permission on who would do interviews and talk to residents. That undertaking was him alone. And I know your rebuttal to this would be, well, he didn't let us know. My beef with that is you should have already contacted him when the storm was happening to assist. I don't believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody reached out, picked up a phone, asked Stephen Donnelly how he could help, how you could assist. I think you guys are a little misguided on what your job is. The job is to assist the supervisor. It's not his job to keep you abreast of all situations. You should be actively trying to communicate and help him in any way. It just saddens me to think that in the 3 years that he's been actively working to make this town better, he has been fought against the whole time because everybody has their own personal agenda. We would be in a much better town. We would be as a much better town in a much better place if everybody would put the town first instead of themselves. I'd also like to do a great big thank you to my husband, Chief Sewer Operator, who tirelessly keeps this town afloat, and again with no recognition, but apparently falls on deaf ears or it's not within your personal agenda, and yet he keeps working for the people. We need people like him to sit on the board. And obviously a shout out to George LeMountain and the highway crew and the police department who also did their job by keeping the town going. And I've said this before, yes, they are essential. And yes, they do get overtime, or maybe not. That might have just been a normal day for them. But I think in all fairness, when the town closes and the other employees get to sit home and collect an 8-hour pay, that these essential workers should get some sort of priority pay for doing what they do, because I'm pretty sure everybody sitting on the board would not go to work and put in an 8-hour day while their coworkers got to stay home with a full day's pay. And that goes for Linda, who came in to do payroll, Sandy, who went into the building department, and whoever else might have went in that day when the town was closed. I mean, I get it, and I approve of Steve's decision because it makes everybody safe, but you also need to make it fair. I wish the town could stop fighting and make the town better. And to be honest with you, I know all of this because I called Steve Donnelly, and I asked him, or actually I called him to let him know that I reached out to Channel 10 and asked if they would run a clip about the residents filling out the forms and if I could do anything to help, if I could go to the residents, if I could help them in any way to get the damages reported. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Harrelson, I don't typically respond, but I just wanted you to know that I was out of state during that storm, and I specifically called your husband that night to personally thank him. And I'm not looking for any sort of accolade or anything. I just,
Please go. And I know, and I do know that.
I know that I haven't personally recognized his efforts in the past, but
Thank you.
But I absolutely,
Yes.
called him that night.
And I do know Mrs. Grogan emailed him. I don't think it was a phone call, but I think it might have been an email. Yes, and I do appreciate that. And I stand, obviously, with my email, right, with everybody in the town, right, with Linda going in when the town was closed, with Sandy going in. I only know this because I'm married to that man, okay? As a resident, I may not know all of this. Every time I spoke to my husband during the 18 hours that he worked, I said to him, oh, I saw, Thai flagging. And I saw you at the lift station. Oh, yeah, Steve was there. Oh, yeah. And I was like shocked because 18 years, I mean, I've been through many supervisors and nobody has been anywhere remotely around him or within the work areas when he's doing that type of work. Nobody's ever checked on him. Nobody's ever called. Nobody's ever said one word. Okay. And that, like, when I called Steve, I was in such appreciation of him because of what he did. And I honestly was calling to see what I could do for the residents because of my husband telling me the horrific things that were going on, right? Like, can I go? Can we call the fire department? Can we see who they assisted, right? I mean, and I know there might be HEPA laws, but they know where they went. Like, get all of these people to list their damages. Like, what can I do? And Steve and I had that conversation. You know what I mean? Because it's really important. These people, it was devastation. And I'm like, are they sitting there thinking about doing a form? Right? I mean, they're trying to rebuild their life. They may not necessarily be thinking about getting that form in. Right? So these were the questions that I was asking, and thank you for that. And honestly, Mr. Smith, if you just put your passion, I think, in the right places at the right time, you'd be a huge asset. But I think your passion is fighting, and I don't like. I mean, I can see your passion being of great use. Right? I mean, so I appreciate that. But that's it. Thank you. It was a very big storm, and, you know, obviously you people know, I mean, maybe you've heard, like, the residents were devastated, some of them. You know what I mean? And I'm glad Tonka was here. I'm glad those things got out and we got to see, and hopefully we get some sort of reprieve for them from it. And I still stand with, I will go knock on doors and help anybody, right, to get the forms in if they're just trying to think of rebuilding their life and not necessarily getting the forms in. So that is still an offer, but I wanted to put that out there and let everybody know that, I guess, call Steve, call this man and say, hey, you close the town, what can we do? Where can we help? Like, you know, those sort of things. Like, he's not a one-man show. You know what I mean? So that's what I want to say. Like, he's not a one-man show. He needs backup, and that's why you guys are sitting there. Otherwise, run for his position, right? And then depend on somebody else to back you and help you. Like, you know, so I think that's what we're forgetting as we're all sitting here part of this community.
I also think things aren't always what they seem, and not everyone has the information.
No, I mean, I get it, but I asked the question.
Friday, I was in the office finding out what we can do, and I spent 2 or 3 hours down
Well,
at.
Friday was too late.
And I spoke with George and thanked him and everything else. So
But I'm saying Friday was too late when the town closed. That should have been the minute that you put on your boots and was out there.
not if you're not here.
Let me help you.
Not if you're not here. So
Well, no. I mean, obviously, if you're not in the town, obviously, you know. So, but
and I will say, Mr. Donnelly's posts and updates were on point for this situation. We did get emails, and I was happy for that. So
yeah, and he did a great job. He put out a great post. I don't get Facebook. I can only read certain things. Moose did a great post, and I'm glad that he referenced like stop the politics, stop the drama. I don't want to hear it because he's been here for a long time. He has a lot of respect.
I think as a whole, our town came together in a time of need. Candace did an amazing job. People were doing stuff behind the scenes that not everyone may know about. So I will say, when our residents needed help and support, they did get it. So that was a positive thing.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Jason Hutchinson. I live at 64 Main Street. My house was one of the homes that was affected by this flooding. My neighbor Paul Connors, his house, I believe, is the worst one in our entire town. His entire basement was flooded. He lost his boiler and all his appliances downstairs. He had a finished basement with a kitchen in it. All of it's gone. I cannot estimate how much damage his house has taken, but it's into the tens of thousands of dollars. Currently, there's no homeowners policy or flood FEMA policy that will cover this type of flooding because it came from the municipal leased from Ravena. The main line that goes down to the river had completely plugged and blown out and came onto our road on Route 144 and flooded the entire street. And there's inadequate storm sewers, and the storm sewers had completely filled and overflowed, and all the waste from the town came on our property, as well as the water from the town. So I know there was flooding damage all over the place, including up the hill. Everywhere was devastated across the river. But this damage specifically was caused by the failure of our infrastructure. And George LeMountain came out on, I believe it was Friday, after the storm, and he rebuilt our driveway, the top part of it, so we can use our driveway again. Our neighbor has not had any help whatsoever. I don't believe anyone has contacted him. He hasn't asked for help, but I know that he's very affected by this. And I don't know if there's any avenues that the town has to find funding for him and to also repair the damage to our property in the back. I'm not able to do it myself. There's multiple truckloads of stone in the backyard, and this happened in 2010, almost the same scenario. It was the same cause. It was that one line on the hill that flooded our properties out. It flooded my neighbor's and also wiped out his basement. But this time was worse. With climate change and everything else, we need to think forward and overbuild some of our infrastructure so it doesn't happen again. And I know that there's funding for the sewer, which really should have been done in 2019 when the water lines were done. And I just really hope that this gets fixed. It's a huge stress on everybody that lives on that street.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jason.
He's aware of the link that you have, the form.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's one of the guys that I visited.
William Stewart, we're at Old Ravena Road. So I want to ask a question. I heard there was a lot of damage to the building here we're in the basement, and I don't know if it caused any major damage, like to the foundation. Could have. I don't know if it's caused black mold, but I was just wondering that if it does cause, if we have other storms that cause major damage, and they have to close the building, is there a plan B for the court and the police? Because I know that you guys were in talk of doing something still with the new building, but I know that because that's the main plan, to have everything over there. So I don't know if you guys were trying to implement everything over there and to get engineers over there to discuss what the cost of a new courtroom and police station, because if something ever happens to this, I know you're not going to be able to build right away, but is there a plan B if something happens to this facility in the basement? If something collapses or if there's black mold that starts appearing and they have to close down this facility? I mean, with the courts, I don't know if there is, but I mean, it would be good to have a plan B if you could. I mean, I know it's difficult because it's not like just offices, but I was just wondering if you guys have discussed that, because if there's other storms and something major happens and you have to close this facility, it's going to be a tricky situation.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm not aware of any plan B, but I'll have to we can talk to the chief and the court and see if anything ever happened, is there a plan B? Where would they go? What would they do?
I mean, historically, we've had issues where people had to be evacuated out of this building. Yes, we should plan for situations like that, but that's not always the most feasible. And if that were to happen, we would act very quickly, just like other town boards have done when the building has been deemed inhabitable. What that plan B is at this exact moment, I don't know.
But I mean, if the basement closes where there's serious damage there and you can't use that, and then they have to shut the whole building down for a long period of time?
Yeah, we've had that happen before.
Well, you have had that happen.
The clerk's office, and I don't know all the details, but the clerk's office got moved out of here a long time ago and had to set up shop, across the street somehow, some way. I don't know all the details. It was long before my time. It was long before my time on the planning board and the zoning board of appeals. But I do know that historically we've had issues in the past where things have come up and we've rolled with the punches and we've done what we had to do. So, I'm assured that if that were to happen, we would do what needs to be done. I just, at this point in time, I can't tell you what that may or may not be.
All right, thank you.
Any further public comment?
Good evening, Nick Laraway with Carver's. I don't have any specific comments. I'm happy to answer any questions that were raised, happy to let sleeping dogs lie and not re-raise, very heated discussion. But while I'm here, I would ask, if there's specific questions of us, please ask them either here or separately. This has been on the agenda for, I believe, 4 weeks, and we come to the meetings prepared to discuss, and there really haven't been any questions for us.
I have a question. So, and again, I don't know everything about pilot programs, but pilot programs, obviously the IDA, they approve any industry for a pilot. Is it just their decision solely? Because I would think if you're getting a pilot, where you're going to take $700,000 away from the town and taxpayers have to make up the difference, shouldn't that be somewhat? Should the town and the school district have a say in that? Or is that just solely the IDA saying you're approved and we can't do anything about it?
I think simply to answer that question from my lay perspective, there's multiple parts to it. So the $700,000 that the supervisor mentioned was a combination of mortgage recording tax, which would go, I believe, to the county, sales tax that gets distributed in many ways, and then about $390,000 of real property tax savings over the next 10 years. So that is uniform. The IDA has a set standard that you can apply for, which is their baseline. And then if you want to be potentially like what Lafarge did a number of years ago, they can ask for longer term, more aggressive terms. But the county IDA has a standard. And if you apply for that, they have a process they go through. And if they're going to go outside of their standard, they have to get additional permissions from the town and school board. I can't speak to any communications between the town board and the IDA, but I know myself and 2 members of the IDA met with the school board chairman and the business officer. We spent a couple hours going over the project and the port. I gave them both a tour of the port. They had a bunch of questions that were raised of the IDA. The IDA, I believe, answered them to their satisfaction. And that occurred over the month of July prior to the meeting on August 5th.
Oh, okay. And Nick, I know I remember some solar pilots and stuff, they have host benefit agreements with the town. Is that something that you'll be offering to the town, or is that not part of it?
So I don't know exactly how a host benefit agreement works. I know that's more traditional of solar and wind and other alternative energy projects that go for a long time.
Oh.
I know that currently this property has a de minimis amount of real property tax, and after the project's built, there is an estimated $500,000 in real property tax that is going to come through the pilot. So while we have requested and been approved for the $390,000 in savings, there is a $500,000 upside in real property tax to the town and school that otherwise wouldn't be coming if we didn't build the project.
How much is a project going to cost Carver companies to build?
$8 million.
$8 million for the for the building?
For the building and the fit up and the equipment and everything.
$8 million.
Yep. And it's going to create 28 construction jobs and 18 permanent jobs over the first 3 years of operation. And all this, I understand there was a lot of scheduling and it's summer and everything, but all this was reviewed at the initial county or the IDA meeting, at the public hearing and again on the 5th when they reviewed everything and approved it.
I tried to watch the IDA meeting, but the sound was not great. Couldn't really follow. Okay, those are my questions.
And you did answer one of mine. I was going to ask how much of a positive income this was going to be to the town, and that was 500. You have other tenants within the industrial zone, and how many of pilots do you know?
There have been 3 done since the inception.
3 are
One of
done.
them's expired, 1 expires this year, and 1 expires in, from the best of my recollection, 2 or 3 more years.
Do you by any chance know what their income is to the town?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay, that's fine.
I do know there was a lot of questions because the project was approved with a prior code enforcement officer. Jason reached out to our office probably a dozen times and to me personally twice, and we got him all the information, which I believe resulted in him issuing the permits. Certainly, if there's any questions remaining, I'm happy to answer them either here or separately, but without specific questions, I would request that this topic be removed from the agenda so we don't have to come just to see what's going on.
I do have questions about the grading that was done after local law number 9 was put into place.
Okay.
From our near map technology, we can see that there was substantial grading happening
Absolutely.
after the law was passed.
Mhm.
Were there any applications for floodplain? The floodplain application from 2015 was never approved by the then code enforcement officer.
So I don't know where this information has risen about a floodplain application in 2015.
I got it from our code enforcement officer because according to him in the emails that I have from him, from you to him, there's a floodplain application with your signature on it.
Absolutely.
From 2015, and there's no approval anywhere in the town. And my response to Jason was, well, if Nick is saving the application, then he must have the approval. And his response was, the application is the approval, which strikes me as factually wrong.
So I can't speak to your back and forth. I know he raised the question about a floodplain application in 2015. I sent him the correspondence where that was applied for in 2020 as part of the site plan approval process of March 2020, where in fact this project and the other 3 sites were approved. There was a map that was dated 2015, and I think that may have been a confusion for the code enforcement officer, but there was a chain of emails between myself and the code enforcement officer in 2020 when we applied for the floodplain permit and the site plan review process, both of which were approved in April of 2020 to the best of my recollection.
And that raises the second question of project completion. The code enforcement officer responds to my question of if the project is not completed, and this is paragraph E of the code, in 180 days with a 90-day extension. Did you file for a 90-day extension? This is the project for 4 buildings. Was there an extension filed for?
No, sir.
So it was 180 days. My understanding
Or
of
what, sir?
for the project completion of the 4 buildings on the site plan.
My question for you and for the code enforcement officer when he asked me was, the law says the project must be completed in 180 days, but it doesn't say what happens if not. I mean, every project I'm aware of that's been conducted, whether it's Wholesome's expansion, other projects we've done, you know, there's never been a 180-day clock on it. And certainly from our zoning law attorney review, the law does not completely say what happens if it's not completed in 180 days. So the onus is on the planning board or the code enforcement officer to take action, which did not happen. And that's very technically legal jargon, but we reviewed it all and sent over all the information and spoke to the code enforcement officer, and he determined.
From a layman's perspective, I would imagine that the site plan would expire in 180 days.
I don't think it says that.
Yeah, you're saying that it's not explicit, so I'm sure your attorneys looked into it. Those were the questions that I had.
So can we expect for this to be removed from the agenda next time?
I would like it to.
Yeah. It's been approved by our code enforcement officer, and the Albany County IDA made their determination.
Perfect. Any other questions, just let us know. You have our number.
Oh, thanks, Nick, for reminding me. I would like to get together with the code enforcement officer and possibly the planning board attorney and you and tour the industrial park, just to get a sense of what's happening inside the buildings, what's been going on the properties, specifically the project that is being built, the C11 building, in the northern part of the parcel. From the tour that I took with you was it I forget Jason, it's not Jason, Josh Kowalski, back in December of 2023. I remember the northern part of that parcel didn't have much material on it. And then Z and I toured with Keith very recently, and there were 40-foot, 30-foot piles of material. And my question would be, is there any special permits for grading? Is that considered grading? Is that what's that falls under?
The area at the north end is leased by Heidelberg, so we can certainly arrange for you to have a tour with them. And certainly, if you'd like to see where the C11 building is going, reach out and we can set up a time to go through that.
Yeah, that was the point that of the pictures on the website, because now that we have near maps, we can go back and several years to see the progression. And from my perspective, especially in 2022 when the law passed, there's actual bulldozers. The buildings that are 15, 16 feet high, there's material up to the roofs of those buildings, and I was informed that was so by the code enforcement officer so that they could remove the buildings. That's why they were surrounded with fill.
And my understanding is we have a site plan approved and a floodplain fill permit, so we, as far as I understand, have done everything in accordance with the local laws.
Right. I mean, and I just go back to the timeline from the application in 2015 that was never approved.
2020, sir.
Right. I'm going to the. Okay, so you're saying that the 2015 floodplain application is overridden by the.
There was not a 2015 floodplain application for that property. There was a misunderstanding on the interpretation of the form.
Okay. I mean, I have it here.
If you'd like to, I can show you.
Here we go. And you'll see from my handwritten notes when I asked them about it, both CEOs stated that this application is, the approval for floodplain. And then when I questioned Jason, the CEO further, he stated that Chapter 93 is the approval for the application, when in fact that's just the record, how you get to that point.
So if I may, I believe the issue and question was the proposed development located in firm 143 dated March 16, 2015, which was the date of the map that's not attached here. So there was a floodplain map dated for March of 2015. That's where that 2015 date came from. That application was made in 2020.
Okay.
Is that
so
correct?
You're saying that
I have the full document on my computer if you'd like for me to pull it
the
up.
former local administrator made a mistake with dates, is what you're saying?
I'm saying the interpretation of that form by the current code enforcement officer was that March 2015 date was the date the application was made. In fact, that's the date on the map for that section of the form.
Okay.
Do you have a copy of the ultimate approval that was issued in 2020?
I have the minutes passing it and the seeker neg deck this was part of the site plan review
The
process.
enforcement officer can provide, a copy of the decision.
I do have a
The
copy.
records are.
I have a copy of it.
Great.
So you're saying the building department doesn't have a full and complete set of the.
I've tried to get a handle on exactly what has been approved over there. It's my understanding Mr. Kennery has tried to get a handle on exactly what's been approved. and there's, the records are not always clear that are, that at least have been presented. That's not to say that if someone sort of dug through the files, they couldn't necessarily find the answer, but it's not been an answer that could be readily provided.
Good to know. We keep records of all of our applications and approvals, so any questions you have, please, just.
Yeah, so if you could send that to us, and then I'd love to schedule a meeting between the code enforcement, me, you, and Bill, and probably Z most likely.
Certainly.
Just a tour of each one.
And if we're gonna have the planning board attorney there, is the planning board chair gonna be there as well?
It's probably a good idea, yeah.
And attending that meeting either, just so that there's another board member without a quorum and.
Yeah, that sounds great. Okay, we'll start working on that. Thanks a
Reach out
lot.
to Candace?
Okay.
Should we reach out to Candace, or who's gonna organize that, sir?
My office.
Okay.
Thank you, Nick, appreciate it. Any further public comment?
Well, I just wanted to because you mentioned something about a shortage of people for plowing snow. I just want to offer that if I can help George in any way, shape, or form, I will.
Okay.
That's all.
How do you feel about Powell Hill and Gedney Hill?
I don't care. I've gone down them during the winter with an oil truck and going up, so I know what it's like, so.
You're volunteering, Keith.
Yes, I would definitely help George, in no way, without a doubt.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Keith, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Further public comment? Sure.
During the day of the flood, Keith came out, and it's true, and helped us out a great deal. We brought his equipment down and cleared the street, and cleared the culvert, so the water will flow naturally down into the drain. It had been overflowed onto the road, and they dug a ditch to the culvert, and that has not been, I don't believe it's been maintained in many years. I don't know who is in charge of that. That's something maybe we can look into or ask the town highway department if that's under their purview. But yeah, I think having that maintained would help prevent some of these flooding issues in the future.
Thank you.
I just have one more thing. I've kind of ran this by Keith 1,000 times. Have you guys ever thought about, like, I know the concern with the plowing, right, and the highway, and you can't make people apply for jobs, but have you ever thought about, like, maybe offering, like, some of the seniors to come back, you know, like Tom Bennett, like, just strictly for plowing? You know, like, I mentioned this so many times, like, to Keith, like, these guys worked here in the town for 30 years.
Right.
Like, they're retired, right? But it may be something that they would consider just here and there, right? And I don't know how that works with liability or anything like that, but it's certainly something to think about, because a lot of these guys did it for so many years. You know what I mean? Whether or not George could, you know, orchestrate that, or something could be done through the town that these guys would come in. I don't know what the liabilities are, things like that, you know.
And I don't know with the union involved.
Exactly, but at the end of the day, you're gonna have to subcontract it anyway, so, you know, why not, like, might have to, like, why not use guys that literally plowed the roads for 30 years, right? Versus bringing somebody in that doesn't even know what Powell Hill looks like. Right. So, just a thought.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Further public comment? Seeing none, I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.
Good night.